What's up, guys? This is Jordan from Them Evils, and you're listening to Thunder Underground.
Welcome to episode 318 of the Thunder Underground podcast. Trent and Jason here as always. And this week we've got another fun one because we've got Jordan Griffin, the front man for Them Evils. What do you think about that?
Oh, it was great. It was a great conversation. Fun guy to talk to.
Yeah, definitely. They're a newer band on the scene, and I know we've got a little story related to the podcast on how we kind of first heard their name in a way.
Right,
or at least not first heard the name, but you know what I mean. But we'll get into that in a minute. Got a couple other things to talk about. But first we need to let you know who we're sponsored by. And we'll kick that off with Hella Hot Sauce because we just got in some new hot sauce from them.
Boy, did we.
Yeah. Yeah, he has sent us a lot of the Florida Frank's Florida Heat, which we're thankful for because we love Florida Frank and that stuff is great. But he also just sent us a big bottle of garlic death grip, which is from Techno Destructo of Gore. So that should give you an idea on what you're dealing with here.
I mean, if you're a vampire, you're fucked.
That's right.
Straight fucked.
Because a lot of things that are garlic, they're garlic flavored.
Yep.
Not Hella Hot sauce. There's just garlic. Like, you see the fucking garlic in this sauce.
But I got to tell you, though, this shit is super fucking good.
Yes.
And this comes from a guy that is, like, not good with hot sauce and stuff.
Yeah. This
is great shit. So, you gave me a little bit of it. I'm going to go home and fuck up some tortilla chips with this thing. You know?
Garlic is one of my favorite things, so I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with garlic ever.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about Hell Hot Sauce is they've got a bunch of different flavors, and a lot of them are collaborations like that one, the Florida Frank one, Florida Frank's Florida Heat. And there's also one from Ghoul called Brain Jerk.
We need to try that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been on the podcast.
That's right. Digester from Ghoul has been on here. We'll have to get a hold of some of that and let you know what we think of that. But in the meantime, you can take yourself to hellahotsauce.com and order yourself some. They'll ship it anywhere. Or if you're on the West Coast, there are a lot of stores out there as well. They're based out of San Francisco. And they make small batch artisan hot sauces. And we've loved the ones we've got to try so far. So check them out online at Hella Hot Sauce on Instagram and Facebook. And of course, their website is hellahotsauce.com. Also, we've got DEB concerts. They keep bringing kick-ass shows to Tulsa, Oklahoma and the surrounding area because they also booked the Roadhouse stage at Rocklahoma. And that announcement should be coming up very soon for Rocklahoma in September. But in the meantime, this June, they're bringing Brett Scallions of Fuel to the IDL Ballroom, June 19th. That show will be opened by our good friends in Grind, who have been on this podcast multiple times. The very following Saturday, June 26th, Lita Ford will be returning to I almost said the podcast, and she has not been on this podcast, be returning to the IDL Ballroom. Maybe she'll be on the podcast when she's here, and she'll fall in love with me. Who knows? It could happen. But if that does not happen, I'm sure she'll still put on a great show.
Of course.
That show will be opened by Straight Shot, and both those shows will be hosted by the one and only Eddie Trunk. And the IDL Ballroom is an amazing venue, and of course DEB Concerts is an amazing promoter. Check them out at debconcerts.com so you don't miss any upcoming announcements, or if they're going to reschedule any of the shows that got postponed from 2020, and we'll keep you updated as well. Sunset Tattoo, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Great tattoo shop in Midtown Tulsa. Their tattoos are done good and proper. They're state licensed. They're mother approved. If you call up Jake or send him a message, you can schedule a time to get in there and talk about what work you need to have done. You can check out all his work online at Sunset Tattoo Tulsa on Facebook and the same on Instagram. I've had a tattoo done by him recently, and I love it. We also know several other people that have had tattoos done by Jake as well. He's a great guy, and of course he does great work. So give him a call and tell him you heard about him here. Finally, we've got Med Farm, dispensary located in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, 24683 East Highway 51. They're directly off the highway, very easy to find. They've got a drive-through, so if you call ahead, text ahead, or email ahead, they can have your order ready. You can get in and get out. You can check out their entire selection at leafly.com. They're always running specials online, so if you follow them on Facebook at MedFarm, PHARM, or Instagram at MedFarmOK, you won't miss any of that. And also, one of their specials that's always running is if you mention our name, say Thunder Underground, they'll give you 10% off your first order, which is very cool. But what's even cooler than that is 30% of their proceeds all the time, not just like a gimmicky thing for a week or two. This is forever, goes to building no-kill animal shelters. Can't beat that. That's about as good as it gets from a business. Most people don't give up a third of their profits for anything, let alone something like that. So hit up MedFarm and give them your business. And, of course, tell them you heard about them here. Now that we got the sponsor stuff out here to you, anything you want to talk about before we get into the Pantera bit here? I just threw that out without telling people we're going into Pantera bit. But
right, yeah. Well, I mean, we do what we want, whatever. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so. Oh, I know. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Did you listen to that Buck Cherry song?
I did.
What'd you think?
Okay, I went into it with an open mind because you know my thoughts on Buck Cherry over the...
Right. Post Keith Nelson.
Yeah. Even before Keith Nelson left, the last album or so that he was on, I still just thought it was really kind of getting bland.
Okay.
But not as bad as
I see.
It has gotten. But because I firmly believe that man was the source of the greatness of that band. But anyway, I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't think it was great.
Okay.
It was just there kind of in the middle. The thing I loved about some of my favorite Buck Cherry songs from the first few albums is that not only are they catchy, but they also just sound like good old raw rock and roll.
Right.
And this just sounds like just any other song you hear on the radio.
I tend to agree with you a little bit. It is just kind of, it was just a little samey to me. And I kind of gave him a little bit more leeway on the last record than you did.
Yeah. Well, I remember the last record. I liked
apologize.
A few of the songs.
I can't remember what the name of that last record was.
I can't either.
But I enjoyed it, I think, a little more than you. But this song was a little bit more, just middle of the road, too. So I was just interested to see what you thought.
Yeah, I literally, because you told me what it was called, So Hot, and I thought, or did they remake the Kid Rock song? And then I saw it listed on Spotify, and they even spelt it the same way with 2 T's and hot. I'm like, this has got to be a remake, and of course it wasn't. But...
Yeah.
And there you go. Buck Cherry's releasing music with the same title as a Kid Rock song, and it's not anywhere near as good as the Kid Rock song, so that tells you that Buck Cherry's like slid down the hill.
Well, they'll never be on this podcast.
I don't think Josh Todd was going to be anyway.
Right, true.
I think I've tried before. We could get Kevin, what's his last name? How do you say his last name?
I don't know, but he's not in the band anymore, so it doesn't matter.
So we could get him since he's not in the band now.
Well, he was in American Pearl, which is awesome.
And that's what we would talk about for 15 minutes.
Goddamn right it is. I don't know. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, but a lot of shit came out that we probably need to talk about, but fuck, we've been so, scattered and, backed up with releases and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's anything that's come out in the past few weeks that I've listened to enough to, like, talk intelligently about, except the new Cheap Trick album.
See, I haven't listened to that one at all yet.
Yeah.
So
we've also got the new End Machine, which you've listened to and I haven't.
That's great. I think we're about to go listen to it here in a minute.
Yeah, so maybe on the next episode we could get into that.
I really like that one.
There's the new Gilby Clarke album, which I've listened to partially, but I haven't, like, delved into it the way I need to for as much as I love that guy.
Yeah.
It seemed like there was something else in the past couple weeks, but again...
Dude, there was a lot in the past couple weeks.
Yeah. But we've also had a lot of singles for stuff upcoming. I know there's several things coming out in May and June.
Yeah.
Well,
yep, exactly.
Something else of note, by the time you hear this, in the past couple of days, bands are starting to re-announce tours.
Yep.
Seven Dust just announced their tour for, I believe it was like June, July, midsummer. And then also Primus announced the rescheduled dates for...
I saw that.
Their a Tribute to Kings tour, where they're performing Rush's A Farewell to Kings in its entirety.
Right, 37 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure you'll get Primus songs.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get a set of Primus. But that's just, I know we talked about this when this was announced like a year and a half ago, originally.
Yeah.
But if there's anyone out there that could do that and do it justice, it's Primus.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
And you know that they're probably going to stay close to this. Obviously, it's a tribute. They're going to stay close to the sound, but it's like, even if they did it in their own style, it would be fucking phenomenal.
Right. Well, there's only one band I'd probably want to hear do that, and it is Primus.
Yeah, because it's like...
there you go.
Yeah. And it's a really cool lineup. They've got Wolfmother opening for them. They've also got The Sword on about half the dates.
Right,
Unfortunately, The Sword's not on the Oklahoma City date. But
I didn't even see an Oklahoma City date.
Yeah, it's like mid-October sometime.
Okay.
But that tour is pretty lengthy. It runs like, I think, August, September, October, something like that. So
right.
Check that out if you're a fan of Rush or Primus. If you're not, then I don't know what the hell is wrong with you.
There's 2 records that came out that I wanted to mention that I was trying to think of a minute ago. But one of them was Dirty Honey. That was the glaringly obvious one, which we already talked about, so never mind.
Yeah.
But there's this band called Capra. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I've seen that name, but I haven't.
I know Rod Diaz has worn their shirt on like some of the streams he does.
Oh, okay.
But I heard them on Sirius Liquid Metal. They got a song called The Locust Preacher. Their new record's called In Transmission. It came out. It's out on all the things. And I listened to it, and it's just like this weird, dissonant, fucked up thing. Like, I don't know, kind of like a cross between like a I Hate God and Child Bite with female screaming.
Oh, wow.
And like 2 of the dudes have the ironic mullets. But anyways, it's just a cool record. It's kind of that stuff I like. It's like the real weird underground fucked up shit. And the songs are like, a minute and 58 seconds long. It's really cool. So check that out if you're, if you dig that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So like I listened to that the other day at work, and then I went on this whole thing of like Child Bite and Nails and, shit like that all day long.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it sent me on. So there you go.
And a quick plug, Child Bite has been on this podcast twice, right? Or is it 3 times?
Yes, they
twice.
have.
Yeah, we've had full band on here twice, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the vocalist, Sean, wasn't on here the second time.
Second time he was running the merch table, so the other guys talked to us.
But we still had, 3 of the 4, and then the first time we had all 4 of them. But so definitely check out Child Bite if you're into like experimental noise, kind of, heavy rock.
Right.
I actually, that just kind of jogged my memory, as yesterday on my Spotify, I was listening to one of those, one of the generated playlists.
Yes.
Like Discover or whatever.
Yeah.
And I heard a band called Like Machines. Have you heard of that? I heard the one song, and then so I pulled up their thing and looked at them, and I listened to 3 or 4 songs, and it's really, I don't even know what to compare it to off the top of my head, but it's just kind of grungy metal. The singer's got an extremely unique voice. That's the kind of voice that I imagine you're instantly going to either like or not like.
Right. It goes both ways,
Yeah, but it's just, I'll pull it up later after we're done with this, let you hear something.
Gotcha.
It's cool stuff, but maybe we could talk about that more in detail after I actually listen. But anyway, there's something else. But what we were going to jump into is that just a couple days ago, Revolver released a video where, one of their guys was interviewing Phil from Pantera. And of course, all the other great stuff Phil does, like the Illegals and Superjoint. But in this clip, I assume it was a longer interview, but in this clip they released, it was just like 2 or 3 minutes long. He asked Phil to rank the Pantera albums in order.
Right.
From his favorite, in order in which, I've heard that question asked to other, musicians and stuff, and sometimes they'll answer, but most time they just cop off like, that's like, which is your favorite Kid, that kind of thing.
Right.
Which is a fair answer.
Yeah.
But, Phil answered it and put him in order. And I was surprised, and I sent it to you, and I know you were, just because.
I was very surprised. I mean,
we've always talked that we both assume The Great Southern Trendkill is the Phil album.
Yeah, right.
And then he had it like number 4 on his list of 6, because he included Parametal, the first album that he sang on, in the, in the 6th list.
Okay. Well, see, it's like, we should say, his list was what? Reinventing the Steel.
It's number 1.
Far Beyond Driven.
Yes.
Vulgar. Trendkill, and then Cowboys from Hell.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is shocking, but at the same time, you know, these are the motherfuckers that were on the record. So they probably have a completely whole different view than all of us.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean...
And we're just basing our thoughts on that Trendkill as being that album because when you hear some of those songs, they sound like what Phil kind of went on to do with Superjoint and that kind of stuff. But his point when he was talking about reinventing the steel, he said that it was he said it was the hardest of the albums to sequence because he thought the majority of the tracks could have been an opening track, which is a good point, you know. Yeah. And because, you know, whenever you hear Vulgar Display of Power, I can't imagine, even though there's songs on the album I like more than Mouth for War, I can't imagine any other song. Right. Same with Cowboys from Hell. There's no other song that can open that album. Exactly. Even though there's other songs that are fucking amazing. And it's just like one of those things where, and he also said, and any one of them could have ended the record too. Yeah. And I thought that was really cool, and that kind of helped me understand it a bit more. And again, that shows you where he's coming from. So I get it. So maybe he's saying that that's the most complete album, like where he likes every song from beginning to end. It was just all bangers in his book. Yeah. So your idea was like, well, let's do ours real quick. So yeah. So go. Okay. I'm making you go first. Well, my number one is, I mean, it might sound generic, but it's Vulgar Display of Power because that's literally it's the album that I was introduced to him fully by, even though I knew who they were before that. And then that's still to this day one of my favorite albums of all time. It might even be my second favorite metal album ever behind Master of Puppets. Yeah. But the thing I always struggled with forever is what number 2 is. But to me, it's a toss up between Cowboys from Hell and Far Beyond Driven. And I know most people kind of shift towards Far Beyond Driven because that's the Pantera that we know. You know, what Pantera at their epitome, right? Their height. And, but to me, Cowboys from Hell is just such an amazing album because it's like, you still got the tiniest, you know, hints of the melodic 80s sound. And you've still got that kind of thrash sound going through there. Right. You've got Phil not only doing what Phil does, but he's also hitting notes that like, nowadays that people hadn't heard that wouldn't imagine that he would hit notes like that. Right. And it's just like it hit, you know, everyone always talks about, you know, the end of Domination, how amazing that is. And just like, and then, you know, to the other stuff like Cemetery Gates, they never even did anything like that again. Like that album's just so unique. But then Far Beyond Driven's so amazing too. But if I have to like put them in order, I'm going to say Vulgar, Cowboys from Hell, Far Beyond Driven, basically in order from that point. Great Southern Trendkill, Reinventing the Steel. Wow, okay. And I love, and see, that's the other caveat here, is that I love Great Southern Trendkill and Reinventing the Steel more than most bands' best album. Yeah. You know, I've got the band tattooed on myself. That's how much I love that band. So it's like, you could say, you know, Great Southern Trendkill is number 1, and I would go, all right, cool. Right. You know, I'm cool with that. You're good with it. Because I fucking love it, you know? Yeah, yeah. So, okay, now you go. Well, Vulgar, of course, would be my first. I mean, and I don't need to explain why. Right. And then for me, it goes Vulgar, Far Beyond Driven. And then I would go Reinventing the Steel. Okay. And it's, I think, you know, a lot of people, it didn't seem to catch people the way their other stuff did when it came out. Yeah. But I really dug it. I don't know, it really hit me. And it was a little bit more, they kind of brightened it up coming off of Southern Trendkill. I was great that they kind of, you know, they pepped it up a little bit. Yeah. Not so much heroin chic. Yeah. Right. And so, but then after that would be Trendkill, and then Cowboys from Hell would be 5 for me, only because it's like, it's a great record, and Psycho Holiday is one of my favorite fucking songs of all time. But it you know, it like you said a minute ago, it's still got a little bit of their 80s stuff, but they're coming into the thrash, and it just, you know, it wasn't what they became. Right. So, and I like what they became more than, you know, I like the band, what they became more than Cowboys from Hell, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Definitely. So that would be on my list. Okay. But the opening riff of Cowboys from Hell is enough to say that this is one of the best albums of all time.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's fucking classic. It's like that. Those 5 records are better than some bands' catalogs that have 20 or 30 records.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. We'd be here for another hour. I mean, shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's rare that a band can have 5 consecutive albums that,
right.
You know, I mean, at least we and the majority of people that like them love them all almost equally,
yeah,
you know? And, you know, you're talking like the first several Black Sabbath albums or Zeppelin albums. It's like you can't name, or Metallica, you can't name many bands that it's that consistently great.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and I think you could put Guns N' Roses up there too, with, like, I don't know, you're probably different. You'd put Appetite as number 1 of all of them, but, and it would be, but that's another band of like, you know, what their 4, 5 records they have is better than, I mean, most shit any fucking where of bands that have been around since forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, totally.
Faith No More, anyway.
Right, yeah, so here we go. Off we go.
But yeah, I mean, if you happen to be a big Pantera fan, we actually have an episode, we have a thing we do called Every Album in a Row, where we talk about a band's entire discography in order, just listen to it straight through and talk about it, and we did that with Pantera, so look that one up if you want to hear more about that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's get into Them Evils. So we talked to Jordan Griffin for a bit about what this band has going on. He's the front man, he's the vocalist and guitarist of this 3-piece band out of California that is really, really good, and I'm really hoping that they kind of get to that next level, like the Dirty Honey, you know, Rival Sons kind of level where everybody knows them in the mainstream. Because I think they're getting there, and they're doing it pretty quickly. Their first EP, I think, came out in 2017, around there. They've got a couple EPs, a lot of singles, and it's all good. Their most recent single was Pour Out Another One, and I'm not lying, that song is like, you know, I liked it when I first heard it, but now I'm like, I listen to that song at least every day.
Yeah.
Like, that's how much I love it. It's just got this sludgy greatness to it, and really glad about that. And about a year and a half ago, or maybe it was like the summer of 2019, Don Jameson was on this podcast, and you went out there and interviewed him by yourself at the Cain's Ballroom.
Yes, you were out of town.
When he was opening for Black Label Society?
Yes.
Yeah.
Zach. Yeah.
Or Zach Sabbath? Or
Zach Sabbath? Fuck, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was Zach Sabbath.
Yeah, you're right. It was Zach Sabbath. And that was Them Evils was one of the bands, you know, one of our questions, like, what have you been listening to? What are you liking lately? That kind of question. And Them Evils was, he mentioned that name.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And then I saw him a few months after that at Exit 111.
Right.
And that was of October of 2019. And that's the only time I've got to see him, but that was great. And so hopefully we'll see these guys soon enough.
Of course.
Once all this stuff starts kicking back into gear like it seems to be slowly starting to do. So.
Yep.
But all right, let's get into this talk with Jordan Griffin of Them Evils. Pour Out Another One recently, and obviously the song kind of explains itself lyrically, but why do you think this is like a perfect time to release this song kind of as we're looking towards the end of the pandemic?
Well, definitely because everyone has been picking up the bottle a lot more, especially us. There wasn't much to do really during the pandemic except for drink. I mean, we were all out of work. So we thought, you know, why not just release a song about drinking and having fun and going to the West Coast in California and just saying fuck it and partying. And that's pretty much what Pour Out Another One's all really about.
That's all it needs to be about, right?
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, we wrote that song before the pandemic. We didn't really expect any of this stuff to happen. So when the pandemic did happen, we were just like, you know what? This makes sense. Everyone's going to be drinking. Everyone needs like a party anthem song. everyone kind of is just in this like this lull and shitty attitude and just negative energy because, you know, of what's been going on. And we felt like Pour Out Another One was just a good song to release and, you know, bring people's spirits up and get them to start partying again.
It's a great song, and like musically, it sounds a little bit different than like your guys', you know, previous couple EPs, and even the 2 songs you released last year as well. Was that kind of an intentional, you know, kind of shift in the sound, or is that just you kind of expanding what you guys are doing?
No, with the other ones, we were just kind of, you know, wanted to write something more upbeat, up tempo, and then that one kind of just came together, and it was like slow and sludgy, and it was always something we kind of wanted to write. We had never really had a song like that, so we were just like, let's just go with it. Let's see how it, you know, turns out, and then it turned out being one of like our favorite songs. We recorded it, and we were like, we got to release this. This is the one.
When I saw the live video you guys released, I saw it was directed by David, the drummer. Like, was that something he has experience with, or did he just give it a shot because you guys needed to make a video?
That's funny you said that. I mean, we all kind of did it, directed. That's funny. No, we just put cameras. You know, we did it all ourselves. We put cameras. We did a few different angles of the take. And we just kind of picked the best shots and grouped it all together. And, you know, came out pretty good. But yeah, I mean, he's the video guy usually. So he deals with that. And he spent most of the time on the computer fucking splicing everything together and doing all the nonsense because that's what he likes to do. So we were just like, all right, you take over it, man. And it turned out killer. So kudos to David.
Absolutely. Right. So there's been some singles released during the pandemic. I mean, are you going to continue this route, or is there like an album in the works?
We're not really doing the album thing yet. We're kind of just sticking to the singles. You know how that whole thing right now where, you know, if you release an album, like no one's going to really listen to it. And they're going to lose, you know, their attention. We're going to lose their attention. So we just, you know, keep them interested by releasing singles every month or so, every 2 months. So they're like, oh, you know, Them Evils released another song. Let's go check it out. Instead of releasing, you know, 10 songs at once, and they listen to it a few times and then they just, you know, throw it in their center console in their car and never listen to it again.
Right.
So yeah, the whole single approach is kind of the whole new jam that we're going with.
Yeah. And there's no shows or touring yet, so you can't promote it. So but hopefully that's coming to an end.
Yeah. In California, I heard like June 15th is everything's going to go back to normal and completely open.
Right.
I'm sure there's going to be people that are still, you know, weary about going out. So I'd give it to, you know, the end of the summer. But yeah, June, July, August, you know, September, October. Hopefully those are the touring days when we can get back out on the road and start making money and playing in front of people.
Right. So is the bulk of the writing, is it you, or is it a collective from the entire band, or is it just kind of maybe both?
It definitely depends. Most of our songs kind of start out with a riff. You know, I'll write the riff. We'll go into the room. We'll kind of create the dynamics, you know, build the song. Sometimes we'll go into a writing session and one of the writers already has an idea or a riff or a top line, and we just kind of build the song around that. But back in the day, I used to just kind of write the song, and we'd go in and put like a melody over it and put a top line. Now it's just it's different all the time. It'll start with a top line. It'll start with a chorus. It'll start with an intro riff, or it'll start with like a cool verse idea. So it's a lot different now.
Well, with you being the guitarist and the vocalist, I mean, a bulk of the sound kind of comes from you. Do the other 2 guys in the band like have a hand in riff ideas and melody ideas and that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, sometimes I'll go to them and they'll be like, yeah, that sounds like shit. And then they'll be like, you know, this might sound better. Let's play it like this. And, you know, it's just, you know, that's what a band is, you know, it's everyone's teamwork together. You know, the song's all of ours. It's not just mine, but, you know, sometimes they'll come up with an idea and then that'll turn into a song. So just because I play guitar and sing doesn't mean, you know, I'm doing the most of the writing, but, you know, it's just the band. And we just figure it out.
I'd heard in another interview you say that you were considering bringing in a second guitarist. Is that
something like if you do that? I mean, how open are you to just like letting them have free reign and writing or contributing ideas, that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, I would love that. That'd be awesome. I would love to have like another shredder and another like riff writer and someone that's good at writing songs. That would just, make the band even better. But it's something we were even just talking about it like 15 minutes ago, because a lot of our newer songs, they have like layered guitar parts and solos and like intricate riffs that I can't really play and sing. So we'll definitely need someone on the next tour.
Do you guys have a decent amount of stuff written that hasn't been released, or do you kind of just like release it as you write it? Or?
We probably have at least 40 songs sitting just, in the library right now. We're working on a few. We're recording some right now, actually. We're just got to get the vocal melody set and some guitar solos down. But we have at least 4 or 5 songs that we're ready to release. We just got to, figure it out and do some music videos and see when the touring is going to happen and just plan accordingly.
As time goes on and you guys start to, build more momentum and that kind of thing, that at that point, do you think you'd probably put out an EP, or you just foresee that happening if it happens?
I don't know if we're going to do an EP. We're probably, we might. There's no there's no set in stone plan about that. We're just sticking with the singles, like I said. Maybe if we release a few songs at once and we could just have that, the complete album button and all the songs kind of just fall under one, album or EP, that'll work. But for now, we're just doing the singles.
Gotcha.
Well, shifting gears a little bit, you guys, the sound gives you the opportunity to open for several different types of bands. Pretty Reckless, Zach Sabbath, He Is Legend. Is it hard to connect with different crowds, or have you found that pretty easy?
No, we found that pretty easy. We kind of just go out there and give it our all. We have a few beers. We go out there, we play our music, and we headbang, and we just fucking have a good time. And I think it catches on to people, regardless if they're friends or fans of our music or not, or even like the genre. We still kind of catch the crowd. I think they feel the energy. Like we're actually going up there and we're playing hard as we can, and we're having fun doing it. And I think they catch on to that and they love it, regardless. Like I said, if they're a fan of our music or not, they just, they enjoy seeing us live.
Yeah. I mean, if you're keeping it organic and natural, it's gotta connect over a few different types of audiences.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can't just be, niched into one audience or one demographic. You got to reach out if you want to, make new fans, impress your old fans. You got to keep changing. You can't just keep playing the same shit over and over again because it gets old. And everyone's music taste changes, so you got to kind of adapt to that.
Have you never dealt with any of those weird crowds where it's like those where you used to hear about like Slayer fans like flipping people off or turning their backs?
No, I mean, we've had a few crowds. Like if you go to like Nashville, they're so used to seeing great bands and amazing musicians that they're kind of spoiled. So sometimes they're like stiff. Even in LA, you'll see that. They're just you're better than them and they just don't want to admit it and get into your music. Or they just really don't like you. So sometimes they're stiff, but we still go out there and do our thing, and you don't like us, fuck off.
Right on. Well, I noticed you guys were doing on Instagram, you guys were doing that weekly live thing where you would like talk to the fans and everything. Like, what was that experience like, connect with fans on a weekly basis like that?
Yeah, we did like a happy hour thing. So we'd go on there, like 2 of us would go on Instagram Live, and we would just get shit housed.
Yeah.
And we would just drink with the fans, and they'd like dare us to do shit like take shots or shotgun a beer or butt chug a beer, get naked, show us your balls, like rub your nipples, do stupid shit like that. And it was a blast, because there was no touring, so they got to hang out with us, virtually on Instagram, and they just saw us partying and having a good time. And I think that's a good way to connect with the fans for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think that the downtime of no touring affected your guys' momentum, or do you think stuff like that you just talked about on social media kind of helped everything kind of keep going as it was with putting out singles and connecting via Instagram Live and that kind of stuff?
It affected the momentum a little bit, But doing the Instagram thing definitely, you know, kept us afloat, because that was the only way, you know, outlet we had was online to do like live stream shows or the happy hour things with the fans or a little acoustic set in the studio. So, you know, thank God for that, because if we didn't have, you know, Instagram or any social media, I think we would have any band would have been fucked during this time.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. It's hard to imagine, like, if this had happened in like 1991, like what those bands would have done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The whole music industry would have shut off, you know, everything went virtual.
Yeah. There's nothing good about a pandemic, but I guess at least we had the internet.
Yeah. Right. At least.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of bands were doing the, you know, the live streaming things. Like even bands were playing at the Forum and streaming that show, and like that's badass. And they were selling out. You know, they were selling a lot of tickets and a lot of streams, and you know, bands were still making a killing, selling, you know, masks and shirts that had something to do with the pandemic. And you know, a lot of them adapted. You know, it's hard to do, but it's possible, and a lot of bands, you know, made a killing doing it.
Yeah, I don't know if you follow Clutch or not, but did you like ever see any of those videos of like them, like, you know, when they did their live streams and then they would release them on vinyl, and then they would sell those things out in like an hour, and they had like stacks of them, like hundreds of vinyls that they would sell out on these every single show?
I didn't see that. No.
Pretty impressive.
I know, that sounds like a killer idea though. Holy shit.
Yeah, everyone's just doing what they can during, you know, this crazy ass time. Cliche as that sounds now, a year later.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you just got to adapt. You got to find a way to connect with the fans and the audience, and you know, make more fans and release songs, put it on Spotify, put it on YouTube, do acoustic shows, go live. You know, do the whole Twitch thing, the whole, you know, Patreon thing. You just got to do everything you can. OnlyFans, even. Shit, I do OnlyFans for the band if it made us, you know, got us more streams.
Yeah.
Trent would definitely subscribe. He would.
We, you know, but we got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's rock and roll, baby.
Well, you know, speaking of the whole pandemic, like besides getting shit-faced, like how did you spend your personal time over this past year?
I did a lot of guitar playing. I did a lot of traveling. I did a lot of family time. I hung out with my fiance a lot. We went to Vegas. You know, we went to Utah to see my family. And we just kind of hung out with, you know, the people we loved, and just got to like catch up on all the times that we missed out because we've been so busy working. And, you know, we were caught up in touring 6 to 7 months out of the year. And I didn't really realize how much I didn't see my family. So when I got to actually spend time with them, I was like, whoa, this is so awesome, because I've been in California doing the whole music thing for 8 years, and I'd see my family like once every 4 or 5 months. And then I got to see them for like months at a time. And I was like, this is so awesome. This is so rad. And I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I've heard that from other people. It's kind of like the silver lining through the whole thing is like just getting to reconnect with people that you normally wouldn't get to because of just life in general, your job or whatever, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I saw a lot of my high school buddies, like my tight knit group of friends that I grew up with, you know, I never really saw them because they're all, you know, professionals doing their own things, have families. And then during the pandemic, some of them were unemployed as well. So, you know, I would just be like, hey, I'm coming to Vegas, and we'd all meet and hang out, and go out and drink, or drink at one of their homes and just, you know, shoot the shit and catch up and reminisce. And it was a badass time, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of California, like out of Huntington Beach, is there a rock scene there at all, or is it just kind of like, or is that something you even pay attention to?
There's a few local bands out here that kick ass. You know, there's Big Monster, Robert John and the Wreck, Myruka, you know, even the guys in like Of Limbo and Joyce Wolf are out here. They're all like Orange County, LA guys. But yeah, there's a lot of rock going on, you know, and people are catching on to it. And, you know, there's live shows. They might not be big, you know, international bands, but they're well known locally, and they kick ass, and they, you know, make really good fucking music.
Excuse me, outside of stuff like that, like what have you been listening to in recent times, just on a personal level?
I've been listening to a lot of Stone Temple Pilots, the Core album. Royal Blood, for sure. A lot of Slayer and Pantera and Metallica. Like, I used to listen to that shit when I was in high school. I grew up listening to it, and for some reason, I'm just like reconnecting with all the metal shit that I used to listen to. And I'm just practicing a lot of the fast guitar riffs, and I'm just loving it.
Yeah, I saw some of your Instagram stuff. You do the, like the Monday riffs and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I try to learn a Pantera riff or a, Pantera solo. Like, Dimebag's the best guitar ever. Randy Rhoads too. So you gotta learn their genius to create your own almost. So learning their shit just gets the chops up.
I saw a thing today. There's a link to a story where you can, if you want, you can buy Kirk Hammett's guitar that he used in the one video for $30,000. So if you guys,
holy shit,
if you guys got $30,000 lying around,
if I had $30,000, I would definitely buy that.
Right. I get that. I
for
totally
sure.
do.
Is it the white Squire or the white Fender Strat?
Yeah, it was like the Fender. I can't even. Was it the Strat or was it like an ESP? But you're exactly right. I know what you're talking about, what guitar, and I think that's what it was. I had the screenshot from it. So yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that video in quite some time.
Right.
But fuck yeah, $30,000, I would for sure buy that.
Oh yeah, totally. Just lying around, I'd do it.
Oh yeah. Who has $30,000 laying around these days in a rock and roll band? So.
Right.
Except for like Metallica.
Right. Yeah, buy their own guitar, send it to charity.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Metallica, I know you're a fan. Both of us are big fans. I got a random question for you. What's your favorite 2 or 3 Metallica songs that came out after the Black Album? So anything from like Load till now.
Oh man, to be honest, I don't listen to much after Load or after the Black Album. I'm one of those guys. I'm like a core Metallica fan. That sounds shitty to say, but like I recently got into Load and Reload. They're great albums, but they just don't hit like, Kill 'Em All or Ride the Lightning or Injustice.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
Oh, especially Master. Master is the best metal album ever made.
I fully agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, every note is like flawless and just like well thought out and planned, and the production is perfect. And the way like Kurt Hammett plays, like his solos, yeah, it's flawless. It's immaculate.
Yeah. This guy next to me, his favorite band's Metallica, and that's not even his favorite Metallica album. So I'm calling you out.
It's Kill 'Em All. Don't worry, it's nothing after Black Album. I promise.
No, Kill 'Em All rips. No Remorse, Phantom Lord, man.
Right.
I love that album. Hits Lights. Every song is good on that record as well, and it was their first one.
Right.
Even the Blitzkrieg and Am I Evil.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, they're great covers. Can't beat them.
Yeah, I love Am I Evil. That's just like Metallica made that song theirs.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, had a Rocklahoma here in Oklahoma is like only like an hour from us. So we go every year. And Diamond Head played a couple years ago, and that was you that told me there was a guy sitting over there said, "Why are they playing this Metallica song?"
And I had to stop and go, no, this is their song. And he argued with me. And I was like, no, but yeah. So hopefully he went and Googled it and felt like an asshole.
Yeah, he probably did, fucking idiot.
Right.
I would love to punch people like that in the fucking dick, dude.
Yeah.
I wanted to, man. Believe me, I wanted
to. Yeah, I heard a funny story that guy, the singer from Diamond Head, he makes more royalties from that Metallica cover than anything in his discography ever.
I'm sure. Well, they've said, like, yeah, Metallica bought us a house.
He said, what, Metallica bought us out?
Yeah, it's like they basically bought us a house with the royalties.
Oh, a house.
Yeah, house. Yeah. So.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Fuck yeah, man! I want Metallica to cover one of my songs, dude.
Yeah.
So we should start that campaign.
Or you get Testament to cover "Practice What You Preach," followed by their "Practice What You Preach." No.
I know, right? When we wrote that song, I was like, "Fuck, this is a Testament song already." But let's roll with it and see how it works out.
Right. Well, speaking of your music, bringing it back around, do you have plans on a timetable for the next single?
Yeah, we were actually discussing that today. Probably within the next few weeks, maybe early May, end of April. We just have to figure out some music video stuff. And that's pretty much it. Do a whole bunch of promo, come up with flyers and promotion and stuff like that, and do all that, and then we'll pick a date. But yeah, definitely something in the next month.
So is the song already? You already have the song you're working on, or do you know? I mean, do you know what the song's going to be?
Oh no. Oh no, it's like online. It's ready. We just got to press, distribute.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
We
man.
recorded this song a while ago, about a year ago.
Oh, okay.
We've been sitting on a few.
Well, I'm looking forward to touring starting back up so I can see you guys. I saw you once at the Exit 111 Festival, and that was great. So hopefully we can see you again down the line.
Hell yeah, dude. That'd be awesome. We'd love to play, Exit 111 again. That was in, not Nashville, but was it Knoxville?
It was like south of Knoxville in some little town. Like, I forgot the name of the town.
Yeah, that was one of our favorite festivals. Like, Tyler Bryant played that, and Cadillac 3.
Yeah.
Did ZZ Top play that?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah, ZZ Top and Skinner and Cheap Trick and Slayer.
Yep. That was a badass festival. That was definitely one of our favorites.
Cool, man. Well, we appreciate you taking the time with us today.
Yeah, no worries, dude. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
There you go, Jordan Griffin of Them Evils. A huge thank you to Tom George of Tag Publicity for setting that one up. And, of course, a big thank you to Jordan for taking some time out there to talk to us about everything the band's got going on. And, of course, we even got some Metallica talk there. You got to talk about your favorite band.
Which I always am excited about.
We're like 2 episodes in a row because our episode last week was with Trevor Church of Haunt, and he talked quite a bit about Metallica as well.
Right.
And that was both the good side of Metallica and the bad side, according to him at least, because there's no bad side, according to you.
Well, there's
except the studio version of All Within My Hands.
Right? Yeah, there's least favorite sides, and that is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
That literally goes under the category of songs I never want to hear in my life ever again.
But then you hear the S&M 2 version, and you're like, holy shit, this is amazing.
I know. Well, it's a completely different... Yeah, it's awesome. So, who knows? I don't.
That goes to tell me that Metallica should do another symphony show where they play Saint Anger in its entirety.
Right.
And then let's see what these songs sound like when they're reworked.
I don't know. All Within My Hands is enough. Let's just skip over that whole...
Yeah, you're right.
It's a tough listen, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you.
But back to the subject at hand, check out Them Evils if you have not. Great band that's on the rise, and don't like to say if you're for fans of that kind of thing, but they fit in with kind of the newer wave of rock bands out there like Joyous Wolf and Dirty Honey and Rival Sons, that kind of vein, of hard rock. So give these guys a listen if you have not. And of course, telling you heard about them on Thunder Underground. But in the meantime, if this is your first time listening, just mention Dirty Honey and Joyous Wolf. Members of both those bands have been on this podcast. We've also had members of, I'm trying to think of that kind of vein. You're talking about like your rock radio stuff like Saul, Shinedown, going way back, Saving Abel. But we've also had on a lot of great metal stuff like Megadeth, Testament, Crowbar, Sons of Texas. We even had members of Kiss and Guns N' Roses and Def Leppard. So dig through it all. TheThunderUnderground.com. You can see all our socials there. Follow us, like us. Wherever you're listening to this right now, subscribe to us so you don't miss any future episodes. We've got an episode coming up with Dusty Grant, who's been on here before. Has a lot of great music out. And then we've also got some other stuff in the works. But dig through it all. It's SoundCloud, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find us. All right. I think that does it for another one. A huge thank you once again to Tag Publicity and Jordan Griffin of Them Evils, Med Farm, Sunset Tattoo, Hell Hot Hot Sauce, and DEB Concerts. And until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.